I can see now that you mastered the art of letting go, and that just makes me want you more. Good day, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to Milk Honey Rose. I am Mystic Alchemy. Thank you for being here. So you have somebody that they noticed that you changed. You weren't the same as you used to be. Before, you were more clingy, okay? And you learned and recognized that that doesn't work for you or the individual that you cling to, okay? And there's also something here about clinging to those who are not stable. They're not a good foundation. So at the point when one is more, I guess, bonded to someone, I want to say, that's at the point where the relationship is strong and you love each other, you know each other, you feel comfortable around each other. Then it's like just a healthy relationship at that point. However, in the beginning, many times people can become very clingy because they are in like a desperate energy and they just want somebody close. So it's like to the point where they will accept and do anything just to say that they're in a relationship. And that's not healthy because it leaves a person vulnerable to being mistreated off the strength of not knowing when to let go, not knowing when to back up. Now, some of you could have had that issue previously in the past, right? Previously in the past, same thing, huh? Previously, let me just put it like that. However, you realized that that does not work for you and it doesn't make sense to you anymore. When you were younger, you didn't know any better. That's how it goes. In the beginning, you don't know until you know. And you realize, you know what? I need to have something to focus on. If you don't have any goals, any hobbies, or if you don't have people that you reach out to and speak to on occasion, and you don't have your own life, basically, it wouldn't be conducive for you to be in a relationship because you haven't necessarily found what means something to you yet. Okay, so many of you have entered a phase of finding oneself to know what your interests are, what your likes and dislikes are. So with that being said, you're able to stay busy, but not just busy, but stay happy because you're so into what you're doing and into yourself. You're not going to have space to worry. Someone who worries that's not attractive. Someone who's very clingy is not attractive. So many of you struggled with this before and it became a problem for you. However, you've overcome that phase of your life. So now those that may have pushed you away or that you may have pushed away, depending on which side this message is coming from, being that you changed, you become more attractive, more appealing because you are exuding love for oneself. When someone does not love themselves or does not love themselves, you can tell that they don't because they accept behavior from others that is unacceptable. And it really devalues you as a person when you do that. When you know what type of energy you deserve just off the strength of who you are and what you represent, there's a lot that you won't accept from people that you accept when you don't really know yourself. That's why I always say, before you get into a relationship, you need to have a relationship with yourself first. Because otherwise, you'll accept anything and anyone. So someone or many people from your past are seeing that you've changed. And now that you have and you're so into yourself and you're not necessarily focused on being in a relationship, you become more attractive, and your ability to be tuned into self is actually very sexy, honestly. It is. It looks good on you. So continue to live your life in such a way where you are tuned into yourself, because the more tuned in you are to yourself, the more joy you will have. And someone who's has energy of high levels of joy and love, you become magnetic at that point. Okay? So that's what this message is about. You actually did do the work on yourself, and it's very apparent to those who saw you before in the opposite energy, when you were more clingy and more accepting of individuals who didn't really give you the respect that is actually meant for you. And it was solely off the strength of, at that time, you just needed to get to know yourself more. And the more you got to know yourself, the less you tolerate individuals who are not worthy of you. Okay? So, excuse me, that is it for this message. If this message does resonate with you, and you know that you did change and you used to be more clingy before you actually got to know yourself, drop it down in the comments below, because now you are being seen as someone who is very attractive of the strength of the change in you and your ability to connect to yourself, as opposed to feel like you need to be with someone to be validated or to be appreciated. Appreciation should always start with you. Love should always start with you. Everything should always start with you. And when you gauge your own energy in correspondence with those you meet, if it matches, then it's a match. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. You must put yourself first. Because if you don't, then you'll end up aligning with people who don't even align with you. All right? All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're feeling my vibe, especially if this message does resonate with you. You could book a healthy conversation by visiting www.milkhoneyrose.org. All right. And also, you can join the membership for additional content. Thank you for listening. Sending my love to you. I'll see you in the next one.